glute tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the same pair of glutes that we did before, but this time we're going to be looking at them from seated positions. So this first one we're just going to look at from straight behind. It'll be a little bit easier just to first gather up the shapes that we want. So I'm just going to draw a cross line like this with my center line, and I'm just going to balance out my hips in it. So roughly as even as we can. I'm going to mark a little line down here, carry this over. Oops. Of course, there we go. My left side here is further away, so I'm going to sink that in a little bit. And we just want to come up. For this athletic girl, we're going to try to keep these hips just a little bit pointed on the outside. From here, we'll drop in our little lines like what we did on our figure studies, just so we can more easily see what is unmovable. So this is just the hip bone, so this is not going to be moving. My center line is slightly off. That's okay. It's what happens when you don't use a ruler, but we're just going to balance things as we go, so it doesn't have to be perfect right now. Alright, so I am just going to add a very simple back. So again, I'm just doing a super slight concave line over my center line. That way it insinuates that there's actually some curving going on here. And this is a skinny character, so I'm going to use concave lines to connect this rib line to the hips. So I'm going to do this. Then I can add in little markings for some actual side muscle. Then from there, I'm going to rework my hips a little bit. I don't want them super wide on this character. Still wide, but not anything crazy. Alright. Now we can actually draw in the glutes. So what we are going to do is, since this character is sitting down, we're just going to draw a second line down here, just sort of showing that. We don't want it to be too far down since this character is a little bit smaller pair of glutes. However, since she is sitting, everything's going to be a little bit more rounded than what we've seen before, but it's also going to be wider. Because what happens is, for this character who's just standing there like this, everything's just kind of hanging down, right? But when she is sitting down, and she now has a hard object down here pressing against her glutes, the glutes are going to stay the same size, but now they have to go somewhere. So they're going to be coming up slightly, and then they're coming out like this, right? So for this smaller character, it's not going to be too crazy of a spillover, but it is going to be noticeable. So her glutes are going to come out past her hips, just slightly, like so. Then you can basically, with whatever, if you want the left or the right glute to come over the other, it's fine. But like what we always do, we're just going to keep it somewhat straight and then really curve in at the base. Same with over here, somewhat straight and then you really tuck this. Then give a little bump. It's okay to give a tiny little bump past this line we drew. That way it still looks like your glutes are round. We don't want them to look too flat right now. Especially because she is athletic, so her glutes are going to be a little bit smaller, but they're shapely. Just going to throw that in. We're going to even up our hips. I'm going to slightly tilt my character just a little tiny bit so she looks a little bit more stable. Alright, so next, from this angle, of course, if you wanted to draw, your legs up or something, then it would look a little bit different. If you wanted them out, then the glutes would be a different shape. But for this, we're just basically imagining she's sitting on a park bench or something. But we're actually going to see a little bit of her thighs spilling out just past her glutes for the same exact reason for the glutes, and that is because since she's sitting down on a flat object, her thighs are gonna go somewhere, and so because she's sitting down on an object here, they're gonna come out a little bit. So we don't want them to be too crazy. She doesn't have very thick thighs, so try to be real conservative with this line here. Then I'm just going to even up my glute, make it a little bit more rounded, a little softer looking. Then I will balance this a bit better, keeping my hips kind of sharp for our skinny character. And there we go. I'll just cut this off like that. Alright, so now we'll do the same sort of sitting position, but now at an angle, like how we did this one over here. So we're going to first draw our cross section here with a little straight line, and then we want our hip facing us to be a little wider than the one facing away from us, so our perspective is correct. Then we'll connect these two, bring it up like so. There we go. Then we'll give an exaggerated line like this. See a little bit of the belly from here. Then we're just going to drop in a line like so. Then we'll follow this back line into our glutes. So it's okay if these ones kind of come out further than they did from her just sitting there, because again, she's sitting down, so everything's kind of staying, you know, kind of small looking in this. But now she's seated, everything's kind of pushing in every different direction to get around that hard object. So she's going to look a little bit perkier from this angle. Then what we'll do is we'll just give her a basic seated position like this. Give her thighs like this. So because she's an athletic, sort of skinny character, you're going to have the glute come up like this. Just a tiny little bump into the hamstring, right? So then, you know, this leg might be over here. Maybe it's up a little bit. Who knows? And she's small enough that it might not even be visible. So then we'll kind of bring this up. Bring this glute down. We're still keeping that relatively flat shape and then into a very firm curve here at the bottom. Then we'll mark this out, make her belly a little bit larger there. And we want to show our little back muscles here. I'm gonna put in a little dimple here. And there we go. I'll just enlarge this as a whole, just so that way fills my page a little bit better, and then you guys can see things a little bit more clearly. This, and then we'll get into the line art. So I'm just gonna cut this off, throw in my very simple back. This time, instead of throwing in my hips first, though, I'm just gonna throw in the glutes because again, they're spilling over slightly. So I like drawing in my shapes and such that are above other ones first. Helps me visualize a little bit better as I go. Again, if you're working on multiple layers, then you can get away with a little bit more. Because I'm just dropping in lines here. I want to make sure that I am not crossing my lines too terribly bad. But just for the sake of making this video quick and just practicing my figures, I'm not trying to have perfect line art here. I just want to get the shape and balance right. So then we'll drop this in, with this, then, so like right here would be a perfect example. It's a lot easier if you use another layer so you can go past the glute. It'll help you get a much more natural curve. For this, I'm just not going to bother with that. I'm just going to connect them like this. Oops. Oops. Something like that. There. Then I can erase this. I can make sure my lines are connected. So, and I don't want this glute line here to be super exaggerated coming way up, because again, she's got small glutes. So we just want enough that when you look at it, you can tell it's like, okay, the glute is coming up past, they're a little shapely. We'll do that. Then for this, I'm gonna start with my glute. Trying to keep it well rounded. Put this in. Throw that in. Then a little bit of the hip into the back here. Throw my back in. Hip. Stomach. Cut this off. Starting nice and, okay, well that was a terrible one, but, so, right in here, I'm not doing much of this action, I'm just popping it out, and that's because since she's bent like this, it's gonna be a little bit of, like, skin folding going on here, so that it's gonna appear to be a little bit pudgier coming out of this section here. So keep it nice round, we're trying to keep her looking soft. Then, just like I connect my calves on this small character, I'm not gonna pop out like this, like I did up here. Instead, just like I draw my calves, I'm going to use a shape like this, right? So it kind of blends into this line. Then I will greatly reduce that glute line, like this, because again, she's got small thighs, small glutes. So this line here is not going to be super exaggerated because she doesn't just have, you know, massive glutes sticking out. But something like this. Of course, if I was too concerned about my line art here, I'd make that look nicer, but for the time being, this is the shape and balance I want. Add little dimples, and cut this off. There we go. So again, you're just keeping that basic shape a little bit flatter, and then you really tuck it in. Here in the back, the glutes are kind of gonna shape themselves like a heart almost, you know, like if you kept it going here to the back, it would kind of look like a large heart, right? So if that is a shape that helps you to sculpt the overall glute, then you could totally do that off of the hips. Just draw in a heart like this, and then just modify it until it fits your needs. The construction portion is really, you're just using shapes to help you get the lines that you're looking for. So if drawing in a little heart is more helpful to you than just drawing in like glute by glute, then that's fine. Make sure that your thighs, you want them to be at their widest, not right at the bottom, but just above the bottom like this. So like this thigh is a little bit larger than the other one, so I'd need to bring it down like so. So I'll just do this. There. And so again, we want the widest part to be just above, because theoretically here she's got pants on. So if she was just completely nude on here, then yeah, it would probably just the widest part would be down there. But because she's not, she's got pants on, so everything's being contained. So the widest part's not going to be right at the bottom, it's going to be just above because it's straining against the material. It's trying to keep her thighs all in one place. But then yeah, from the back, we're just trying to find shapes that we like. So we're just keeping this sort of nice gentle curve into a harder curve. From the side angle, you're going to be seeing a little bit of her belly. So just keep that in mind that as you're drawing, we want to see a little bit of the belly poke. And then this we can kind of clean up a little bit. But there we go. So that wraps up both parts of our small anime glute tutorial. On the next one, we're going to look at the same thing, but with larger pair of glutes. So I will see you there.